uh, Delusions of Grandeur. I'm your host, David Streggy, and here in the room with me, I have my Croatian friend, Boris. Hello, Boris. How are you?
Hi David, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing okay. So last week we went on and did John Bowker's Housebound, correct?
Housebound was the week before. The last week we did Dreamwalkers.
Oh yes, yes,
Uh,
yes. So
yes.
the last 3 weeks were all John Bowker films. Well,
Yeah, yeah.
wow. Let's. So what the movie that we are going to be talking about is one that you have never seen, correct?
Correct. I watched it yesterday for the first time.
Okay. And what was your reaction? Let me just first let the ladies and gentlemen out there know that this film was directed by the Chiodo brothers, which there are three brothers that make up that production unit. And it's Edward, Charles, and Stephen Chiodo, filmed in 1988. This is my all-time ultimate favorite film, and it's called Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Ye- Yeah.
So, what was your reaction to this film?
Well, I really enjoyed it quite a bit. I have to say, as it was recommended by you, I had good expectations of it because your previous recommendations did not disappoint me, and this one was a really delightful horror comedy to me. It kind of reminded me of the movie The Gremlins, which is one of my favorite horror comedies. And yeah, it was really fun to watch this movie, how these clowns are killing people in so many hilarious ways. That's what mainly reminded me of the Gremlins, which is something I really liked in this movie.
Okay. Let me just give a quick synopsis here. And I'll tell you something. IMDb gives a very, very short synopsis. Aliens who look like clowns. Get this: aliens who look like clowns come from outer space and terrorize a small town. That's it. But
Yeah,
that's not all that happens.
well, of
There's a
course.
lot. There's a lot that they pack into this movie, isn't there?
Indeed. Well, this one thing I found quite interesting about this movie, this very idea about circus-themed villains coming from the outer space. It reminded me of the fourth season of one of my favorite anime shows ever, Sailor Moon, which you have possibly heard about. In that anime, in the fourth season, we also have villains who came from the outer space and who they are called Dead Moon Circus. So they also have clowns and things like that. Although the concept is not quite the same as this movie, neither is their agenda and what they are trying to achieve. But yeah, when I heard the very title of this movie, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, it reminded me of the fourth season of Sailor Moon, so I was intrigued already.
so, let me just run this down. Evidently, this is the town of Crescent Cove. Okay, and
Yes.
we have a farmer who lives with his dog Pooh Bear,
Yes, yes.
and suddenly they see what looks like a meteor shoot down like somewhere near. his residence. So they go and check it out.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Mike Tobacco and his girlfriend Debbie Stone, who are played by Grant Kramer and Suzanne Snyder, are parked over at their local lovers lane when they see the same meteor land somewhere nearby as well.
Yes.
But Farmer Gene Green arrives there first.
Yes, and he is not a very lucky one.
So what do you think about these two beginning characters, the dog and the farmer?
uh, well, it was pretty interesting, although a little bit predictable regarding the title of the movie. So I actually kind of expected what was going to happen. Well, maybe not with the dog. I didn't know what was going to happen with the dog, although I'm kind of glad we didn't get to see anything brutal happening to the dog because even in horror comedies, I wouldn't really like to see animal cruelty. It's something I don't like to see even in horror movies. But what happened to the guy was predictable. But it was still funny to see uh, how it ended for him.
Well, I kind of think of him as an older kind of a hillbilly in a sense because he's got that redneck sense of humor. Hey, Pooh Bear, look at that there tent here. What is this doing here? I
Y-
didn't know the circus was in town.
yeah, yeah, and if I remember correctly, he saw a shadow from behind the tent, right?
Correct.
And these shadows were an interesting part of the movie. Like we see a shadow that couldn't really look the way it does. Uh, Regarding uh, regarding what else is on the screen. It usually couldn't look the way it does. Like later we have another scene where a clown is performing some tricks, and we also see a shadow uh, uh, forming some creature that's not really there. So
Yes, yes. See, myself, I have a personal history with this film, and I guess the reason why I like this film is because it scared me the most when I was like 5 years old. I saw it
oh
on I saw it on TV. It was probably a rerun on Sci-Fi Channel or something like that, and it scared the living bejesus out of me. Uh,
oh
especially there's a scene where one of the clowns, probably the largest of the clowns, puppeteers the chief of police or Officer Mooney, um, and
oh
um, the other guy's name is Dave. Well, my name is Dave. So I'm
I noticed that.
I'm watching this cop that's name is Dave try to shoot this clown, and that's when I turned it off, and then it didn't come on again, and so for many years I was trying to figure out what the name of the movie was, and then I finally figured it out later in my teenage years.
Oh, how did you find it eventually?
I think I was actually part of some of the IMDb message board stuff, and I asked around, and that's when they told me that this was it.
Oh,
So,
well,
but
that's a
once once I found it, then I found it on DVD, and I've had it ever since.
oh, well, that's cool.
But now recently, not too recently, a couple of months ago, Arrow actually came out with a really nice Blu-ray of it, and I have it around here. I just have it in the
Oh, can
box.
I see?
I haven't found where I stuck it. That's partially my problem. I have so many movies here, but I swear to God, when I find it, I'll show it to you. But
Okay.
um, in any case, moving on with the story.
Oh,
So Pooh Bear is also not the only dog in here.
yes.
But we will get to that as we progress through describing this film. This film is outrageous, and before we go ahead, spoiler alert, folks, because we are going to spoil the shit out of this movie. I swear to God.
Yes, we definitely are.
So so apparently the two lovebirds are so interested in what this thing is, and they go into it, and they find themselves in this room filled with like these big long upside down things of what they don't realize that it's cotton candy at first, but I think they realize it as the film progresses that
Yes,
this is in fact cotton candy. But they kind of look like upside down what is it, corn dogs. But they're hanging on hooks, and it's a real unique thing because later we find out that they are actually putting the bodies of everyone in town in these cotton candy cocoons.
indeed, indeed. I found this scene very impressive for multiple reasons, actually. So, the first thing that impressed me is this whole structure of this tent and all these devices the clowns have inside. I found it pretty impressive for a movie as old as this one. And besides that, after what happened to the old farmer, we see these two characters, Mike and Debbie, enter the tent and go as far as they did. So I was pretty sure they weren't going to come out of there alive. I was pretty much certain the clowns were going to find them and kill them right there, but they actually managed to get out and survive. So that was pretty unpredictable to me. So I really liked that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like that that our two here, well, two of our heroes. Well, I consider them heroes because ultimately they ended up banding together with. Well, apparently Mike is friends with who he calls the Terenzi brothers.
Oh yeah, those two
Who
guys with the ice cream truck.
Correct. And they happen to run this ice cream truck with a clown on top of their ice cream truck. Little do we know
Yeah,
they're trying to make it into a love mobile of their own.
uh, yeah,
But
uh,
these two tricksters end up um, teaming up with um, Debbie,
with
and Mike, and
and
also the rookie cop, Dave, who just so happens to be Debbie's ex.
oh yeah, that was an awkward situation for Mike, from what I remember.
Well, he's kind of like this straightforward cop, and he doesn't believe a word of what they're saying. They convince him to at least take him out there and show him. And when he does arrive to Lover's Lane, they find that cotton candy like stuff inside of the vehicles that are still left up there on Lover's Lane in Crescent Cove.
Yeah, like cotton candy cobwebs. That's what this vehicle is covered in, and that's the part where Dave realizes that Mike and Debbie have been telling the truth all the time. But it was pretty funny in the police station how they described what happened, like a tent that fell from the sky,
Well,
flying popcorn. It does sound pretty silly, but it's the truth actually.
well, yeah. In fact, when Mike and Debbie try to escape, there's a little scene where this is where folks, the other dog comes into play. The other dog is in fact made by a balloon, and it is a tracking dog that was made from one of the clowns, and
Ah,
it
that one, yeah.
and it started to sniff after them. it was
uh,
it was hilarious.
It was, yes, and I also liked the part when Mike and Dave leave Debbie at home so they keep her safe while they are going to investigate the whole thing, and then we see the remnants of the popcorn still moving, and inside this laundry basket they evolve into uh, these half clown half plant things, and they wreak havoc at her house. So that was another thing I found quite creative and quite funny.
I think that that scene was very hilarious. So what's happening here, folks, is like he said, that the remnants of these popcorn things have fallen off her clothing because she's about to take a shower. Um, Little does she know that this popcorn turns into one of the most ugly looking Venus flytraps.
Indeed, indeed,
Eh,
I couldn't remember the English word for that plant. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It kind of it's kind of like trying to remember the name of Goomba from Mario Brothers or something.
Oh yeah. Uh, uh, yeah, funnily enough, a while ago I was discussing some Mario games with another friend of mine, and he mentioned Goomba, and I had to look up what character it was, but then when I saw it, I remembered it.
It's like a something between a critter and a mushroom. So to me, it's like
Yeah, the Mario franchise is full of weird characters, which is something I kind of like about it. My favorite character is Birdo. I find that one really funny looking.
most indeed. So in any case,
Uh,
getting back
yeah,
to the movie. So
yeah,
there is
sorry.
there is a cop that is on the Crescent Cove uh, police force, and he's been there for many years. supposedly, uh, and he, and his name is Curtis Mooney, played by
Oh,
John Vernon,
yeah, well,
and he is a cop. There's always one of these on every police force. He just doesn't believe any bullshit, and he is hilarious in here with his nonchalantness, especially when all kinds of people start calling in about these killer clowns as they're attacking their homes. And he's like, "Killer clowns, hey? Well,
yeah,
nobody's gonna fool me, Curtis Mooney. The whole
yeah.
town's in on it."
Yeah, well, he was actually one of my least favorite characters because I generally dislike people with this tyrannic attitude, power abusers, and people like that. So I practically, since his debut in the movie, I was anticipating his demise and looking forward to it, to be honest. But yes, this part where everyone is calling him and reporting incidents with the killer clowns, you would expect him to finally believe that they are telling the truth. But no, he stubbornly keeps claiming that people are just making it up for some reason, and then what happens to him in the end? Well, you say it scared you when you were a kid, but I actually found it a pretty delightful punishment for him after the things he did beforehand. So it was
Well,
pretty good.
there is a scene that is where Dave, the cop, comes in, and he sees all these gigantic footprints all over the ceiling, the floors, the walls, as he's walking through the jail cells,
Oh
and
yeah.
it is um, absolutely, you know, spine tingling because how the hell did these clowns walk all over the place, and then there's only one of them still
Well,
left in there. And I like I like when Officer Mooney actually arrests the clown first too, uh, uh, the big large one.
Yeah, I was honestly wondering why the clown was obeying him when he was able to kill him right away. And I kind of felt sorry for those two prisoners who got killed who probably got killed as well when the clown got imprisoned.
Yeah, those guys were idiots anyways too. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I feel too bad for them either. But they didn't entirely deserve the deaths.
Well, yeah. Although, on the other hand, most people in this movie who died presumably didn't deserve it, but it happened.
Well, also, I mean, what do you think about the two characters of Debbie and Mike?
Well, they were interesting. Like I said, I first got intrigued when I saw they actually managed to come out of the tent alive. And then this subplot about the man whom Debbie wanted to ask for help was actually her ex-boyfriend, this cop Dave. So I expected some love triangle to happen here. I thought the story among the three of them would develop some further, but in the end we didn't see much about it. But they were still interesting. And one thing that kind of left me confused in the end about Debbie was why these clowns. So they were killing most people they came across. They turned them into this cotton candy, but. When they attacked Debbie, they put her into a balloon. They didn't kill her right away, which in turn gave Mike and Dave a chance to save her. So I was left wondering how come the Klaus decided not to kill her right away.
I know that I didn't know why didn't kill her right away either.
Oh, yeah, well, from the point of view of the script writers, it was probably so that she could be saved and that she survives in the end. But yeah, from the perspective of the characters, I don't know why they did what they did.
Now, a little bit after Mike and Debbie escaped from the carnival tent, we actually heard some music start, and then we saw all of the clowns start to enter the town.
Oh yeah, that was the. I think that was the first moment when the movie reminded me of the Gremlins, like this invasion of scary-looking murderous creatures attacking the town. That was when I was reminded of the Gremlins for the first time.
That to me is when things got a little bit more funnier because there were clowns that showed up as pizza delivery guys. Uh,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
uh,
and
there was a clown that ended up going to like a drugstore
oh,
and
that one was
standing in
great.
front of it. There was even a little tiny clown.
I yeah, uh, I'm not sure I can recall this one right away.
The
Can you
little
remind me
the
what?
the little tiny clown had a little bit of a scene where he was on a little bitty tricycle, and
Oh,
and he came upon the biker gang and was like,
oh, that
"Hey,
one.
that's a cute little bike, man."
Oh,
And,
well,
and he was nodding his head at them, like saying, "Thank you," or something like that. And
well,
except he wasn't really talking. But
yes.
they were making fun of him, and they threw his bike on the ground and broke it. And um, hey man, what are you gonna do? Knock my block off?
Yeah, well, that was one scene I found really interesting because while we know that this clown is some murderous alien, these bikers don't really know it. So, as far as they know, the clown could be someone innocent, someone who cannot really defend himself, and so these bikers were a textbook example of bullies. So even if the clown really was someone who could do nothing to them, they would have done the same thing they did. So in my opinion, they really got what they deserved.
True. And then, of course, there's the one clown that was beckoning the little girl in the restaurant.
Oh,
And I am so glad that her mother was paying attention.
well, yes,
Because
in spite of
What did he have behind his back?
what did he have? Uh, I can't remember. I'm sorry.
He
I
had a, he
usually.
had he had a big long sledgehammer.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I usually don't manage to memorize every detail after seeing a movie only once, so I forgot. I'm sorry.
Oh,
But
that's
yes,
okay.
thank you. Yes, I was honestly also glad to see the girl survive. In spite of what the movie is like, it still wouldn't be funny to see a child end that way.
Very true, true. And seeing a moment like that would bring you back to the realization that 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 scene could have been actually possible for someone dressed up like a clown in a regular suit.
Well, yeah, actually, that's a good point. The very concept of this movie also somewhat reminded me of those incidents that were going on shortly before the movie It Too was released, when these people dressed like clowns were appearing everywhere and scaring people. So yeah, that's something that could actually happen, and children are impressionable. It would be if in this scene, if the mother was not paying attention, the clown would have managed to lure the girl out, and that's something that some bad people in real life would also be able to do, and well, maybe they wouldn't turn the child into cotton candy. They would have done bad things. So yes, that's a pretty good message to parents that they should really be careful with their children nowadays.
Definitely. What did you think about that scene on the road where the clown was chasing the people in that clown vehicle, where it looked like it was just his feet?
Uh, was it the scene when they ended in the amusement park and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, well, I remember really laughing at this bodyguard at the amusement park where he faced the clowns and they threw all those pies at him, and yeah, and he turned into some white goo, and then they put a sherry on top of him. That was that was really morbidly hilarious.
It was, but there were many different things in this film to laugh about. I mean, it was just nonstop humor to me. I
Yeah.
mean, and then to top it off, that end creature, that Clownzilla. That's uh,
Oh,
that's that's what it was called. It was called Clownzilla.
oh, this biggest clown, the one they were battling in the end, right?
Correct.
Yeah, well, I was wondering why that clown was on these threads like a puppet, while the other ones were just moving freely.
I know. I mean, and he was supposed to be like the big top leader or something like that, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
But I love that they actually had the little tiny ass clown car, where all of them, all seven of them clowns just rolled out of. Though I always got a kick out of anything dealing with clowns, where they got out of this tiny little vehicle, and you're like, where the fuck did they come from?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, like how could so many of them fit into that small thing?
Especially when they were so big, some of them, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
it was hilarious, and you know that once that clown moved, you know that there wasn't a sewer hole underneath there.
Uh, yeah, I actually found it really funny when those two guys uh, were captured by those female clowns. So I thought they were done with, but in the end they came out alive with just these kiss marks all over their faces, which implied the female clowns uh, uh, just had sex with them or something like that.
Oh, that Jack and Jill clown in the ball pit
Yeah.
reminds me of the old Chuck E. Cheese days.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that. I'm sorry.
Oh, Chuck E. Cheese was a children's restaurant that had carnival like games where you know those games where you bowl into like circles
Oh.
or and get tickets to get certain toys. And Chuck E. Cheese was a mouse that evidently was the mascot for Chuck E. Cheese, and
Oh, wow.
they also had their own brand name of pizza.
Oh,
So
that sounds cool. I think we didn't have anything like that in my country. I'm sorry.
that's fine. We it must have been more of an American thing, but when I was a kid, they also had a ball pit. But there was some concerned parents that eventually spoke up and realized that they didn't wash the balls, and so the company completely got rid of the ball pit because of this concerned parent. I wish
Oh.
that they could have at least gone and found some place to wash the balls so that they could do that. But for many years they had a ball pit.
Oh. Well, that's pretty sad. It ended that way. From what you say, it sounded like quite a fun place.
Well, it was. Unfortunately, um, company protocol. It was something the company did to find a solution to their problem at the time, and I wish that they would have just found some way to wash the balls instead of getting rid of their bits entirely. You know,
Indeed, indeed, yeah.
but the only reason why I mentioned it is because, in a sense, Chuck E. Cheese was kind of like a fun like a fun place that would have been up the alley of a carnival or a circus or something like that. You know, it was like an arcade place, a kiddie arcade place. So,
Oh,
which I'm not sure if in your country you have something like an arcade place for kids.
uh, well, I think something similar tended to be at amusement parks when they were at times when there was one. There usually were some machines like that in tents. So
Okay,
mm, yeah.
not a problem. So ultimately, what did you think of the music? I mean, to me, I'm glad that they at least had a title song,
Uh,
which is by a band called the Dickies.
Yeah, that's a funny name. I like the music. Interestingly enough, when I heard that song, I figured out I could add it to my Halloween playlist for next year.
Yeah, I like the music behind it, and I also like the score to it too. The I mean, when they're
Yeah.
marching in town, that music is just so awesome.
Yeah, well, funnily enough, music contributes a lot to the general impression of the movie. Like if you replaced this music with some more serious and suspenseful one, these murders would not be so funny. It would be a little more like a serious horror movie if it wasn't for the music.
This is a movie where I think the CGI in the film actually worked for and counteracted with the practical effects that I know that they were doing.
Oh,
I think that there was a good balance.
well, yes. Well, okay. Admittedly, I am generally not too picky about CG effects. So even in some movies where they are not quite convincing, I usually don't really judge it. But yeah, in this one, I didn't notice anything too bad regarding. Either CG effects or practical effects. I
Well,
actually
no,
found it. Excuse
I
me.
found it. I found it quite believable.
Well, yes, it looked quite good for regarding how old it is. So pretty impressive, in my opinion.
So, what did you think about the location where they were filming? Do you think that you believe that this was a small town?
Well, yes, was it not? Yes, I believed it.
Well, let's see. They actually filmed in Santa Cruz County in California.
Oh, is it a big place? I don't actually know myself.
I'm pretty sure that Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk is kind of a unique place. It's kind of like I know that they filmed the town of Crescent Coast and is in Watsonville, California. I
Oh,
don't know exactly where that is,
uh, neither
but
do I. Geography is not my strongest point.
I've been to California, but not too many places in California. I've been to San Diego or wait, San Francisco. San Francisco is where I was.
Oh, nice, nice.
I was there 2 days after we came back from Australia ourselves.
Oh, wow. I would like to visit the United States at some point.
Well, I hope that you get that chance.
Thank you. I hope so as well.
Ultimately, did you enjoy the film?
Oh,
And would you ever watch it again?
yes, I did enjoy it quite a bit, and my parents also watched it with me. Well, my mother saw it until the end. The father had to go, but he also said he enjoyed it, and we said we could watch it again at some point because he didn't get to see it until the end. But yeah, we all had pretty much fun with it, and I think we're going to watch it again. It was really fun, and thank you for recommending it to me. Like I said before, when you recommended me another movie, I enjoyed it, so I really trust your recommendations. I'm going to watch more of the movies you recommended.
Well, I pretty much just sent you a few that were unique, and I know that some of them have not been covered before. So um, I figured they would be good for future discussions or whatnot. But you had not seen this movie, and everyone who is a horror fan should see this movie.
Definitely. Definitely. Every horror fan and everyone who likes some morbid comedies as well.
Well, it's not just. I mean, it's had an influence on many things. In fact, I believe that the background of Insane Clown Posse. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
Uh, I may have heard, but I didn't watch it. I'm sorry.
It's these are not. Oh wait, actually, they are in movies somewhat, but
Oh,
they are a rap murder metal group.
I didn't know. I think I
And their
read that
backstory
name,
is
but
that they are killers of clowns.
uh, I'm sorry, I cannot hear you. Uh-oh.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, yes. What
Okay.
happened?
I think we just had an interruption, but that might just be because of weather.
Oh,
But
well,
Insane Clown Posse is a murder rap metal group to me. Although and they have a lot of morbid songs as
oh,
well. But their history is that they come from a dark carnival,
oh, yes.
and they dress themselves up as clowns.
Oh,
So that's part of their persona.
oh, I get it.
So
I think
to me, I think that they somewhat were influenced by this movie.
Phew, well, that's possible. Although, as far as I know, there are some other movies with murderous clowns as well. So, although
Very
maybe those were influenced by this movie too, I don't know myself actually.
well. There were some other movies from this era, like Clown at Midnight, which was filmed in Winnipeg, Canada, and then,
Oh,
of course, Clown House, which is totally um, uh, the director ed- ended up getting in some trouble with the child star that was in that movie.
oh, what happened?
Apparently, in the 80s, he was found with video of the lead child star doing certain things to him, and he did 16 months in jail for it.
Oh my God.
So a lot of people did not like this director after that, and yet guess what? He came out with Disney's Powder,
Oh, oh my. Well,
and
I didn't
and
see that coming.
and he is also the director behind the Jeepers Creepers franchise.
Oh. I, d- I didn't know.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things that anytime anyone mentions the guy, people think that he was a creep, and yet I can separate the artist from the person.
Uh, well, yeah. Well, if he did something like that, I can understand why it would put people off and make them not want to see his work.
But yeah, those are some of the movies. I believe that John Candy, what was he? Yeah, I think he was in a clown movie back in the day. It was very small role. Trying to see if I can figure out the name. I believe it was the first one that he was in. Um, the Clown Murders was from 1976. That was one of an that was an early film.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Well, I'll have to see if I can find that one, and we'll have to go on about it.
Okay.
Alrighty, so I think that wraps. Unless there was anything more that you wanted to share about this movie. I mean, I think we somewhat covered the. Oh yeah, you were mentioning the shadow puppetry that was going on earlier.
Oh yes, yes. That scene when this clown was. There were some old people. I think it was a bus stop or something like that, where the clown appeared, and at first he was just entertaining those people, but then the shadow. The shadow turned into some creature and ate those people alive, and Mike and Dave witnessed it happening, and that was when Dave realized that what was really going on.
Well, what was happening? I think he was using shadow puppets to lure this group of people, and there ended up being like quite a crowd there watching. And the first thing I think he did was an elephant, and
Uh, I think so.
and then the next thing he did was I think it was George Washington crossing the Delaware. Um,
Uh,
which was there was a famous painting of George Washington crossing the Delaware River. So I think that was that significance, and then of course the T Rex. That was that was the monster that swallowed the whole group of people, and you could actually see that that the thing had like red eyes, and you could see that the clown was laughing while he was doing the puppet tricks and going like, you know, that evil laugh of his.
yeah. I like your impersonation.
And then he just put them all in this little bag that he had, like a doctor's bag, and then he just jumped clear over the roof, and
Yes,
that's what Dave and Mike saw. So
uh, yeah, so it was impossible for them to catch that cloud or anything. But yeah, it was when they really realized it was a serious situation.
alrighty, well, I think that's all the time that we have for today, folks. Uh, um,
Oh,
but I appreciate you being able to come on and talk with me about
oh, thank you.
this film, because it was one of my you shared with me one of your favorites.
Oh, yes.
and this was my turn to share with you.
Well, I really enjoyed it. Thank you for showing me this movie. It was really fun, and like I said, I trust your recommendations. So
Not a
I'm pretty
problem.
sure whatever we discuss next time, sure I'm going to enjoy watching it beforehand.
Let's do Bunny the Killer thing.
Oh, nice.
I'll be able to discuss
Yeah.
that one, but that one for sure I will watch again because I haven't watched that one as much as I've watched this one. But and I would definitely enjoy watching that again.
Oh, sounds good. I'm looking forward to it.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, so go ahead and check out Killer Clowns from Outer Space. If you
Definitely.
if you have not, before you listen to this podcast, so definitely check the film out. To me, Killer Clowns from Outer Space it spans a few genres. I mean, it's part horror, part science fiction, and part comedy.
Yes, a
So,
pretty good combination.
I mean, that that to me is just above all like the best thing that you could ever have in a film. And
Indeed.
no matter who has ever seen this film that I've ever come across has enjoyed this film. So go see it.
Indeed, I agree. It was really fun.
Alrighty. Well, everyone have a good afternoon, day, evening, or morning, wherever you are. Thank you for listening or watching.
Thank you, thank you.